Am now recording to the cloud. Okay. Hello. Welcome to Do You Again. So what I wanted to be able to do was to walk you through this process. So we have Betty, Jeff, and Danielle from Central Florida chapter, and we have Angel doing a surprise cameo from Michigan as part of the Academy for the NSA LA chapter. Never know where Angel's going to show up. And what I want us to do is to be able to walk through this activity, but a lot of this activity is silent or quiet-ish, and you're really just going to have a conversation with yourself, right? So Betty, I know you're driving, so you're going to have to figure out how to like mentally think about this stuff and catch up when you get home, which is totally fine. Please do not write things down while you're driving because
no worries.
I don't have that kind of insurance. Okay, so what I want you to do first, you should have pen and paper, everyone except for Betty. So what I want you to do is I want you to, those of you that have done this before, do not even think about it. If you are looking at last year's, because some of you, Jeff, I'm staring at you, probably still have this on file somewhere and you can access it, throw it away. Do not look at it. Maybe don't throw it away, but just don't look at it. Clean sheet of paper. It is a whole new year. It is after the first quarter. Do not worry about having done this before. If you're a nerd, when you're done with today, it might be fascinating to compare. And then you can do this. You can use this recording again, and you can do this again next quarter, next quarter, next quarter. And if you want to compare, that's fine, but you do it afterwards. Don't do it beforehand. Cool? High five. Okay. So step one is I want you on your sheet of paper. I want you to write down any name that comes up for you. Somebody that you are holding in your head that you think about when you think about your speaking business, if we're going to kind of narrow it down to your speaking, coaching, this business, what we all kind of have in common, the NSA part of ourselves. Some of these people that you may think of may be aspirational. Some of them may be the opposite. So like, as long as you're not doing that, you're fine. Some of them may be comparable to you by you. Some of them may be comparable to you by other people. They might be people that you've lost work to. They might be people that you've beat people out for work. You might not be able to answer any of those questions. You just, the limited people that you know that are speaker people, whatever, doesn't matter. Good, bad, ugly, awesome. I want you to write down a list of people on your paper. You don't have to share it with anyone else. And I'm going to assume you're going to make eye contact with me when you get to like around 10-ish. But you want good people and bad people. Even if you're a nice person, you still want bad people and good people on your list. Again, I'm going to nudge you to remind you, no one's going to see this list. Good people, bad people, unethical people, leaders, people you hope someday you can be like. I usually say it's probably helpful for them to be alive, but they don't have to be alive. Oprah usually shows up on the lists. She's not going to return your emails. Just don't worry about her. I have everybody on mute, so you're welcome to talk out loud or think about things as you're thinking about them out loud, but no one else will be able to hear you because I put you on mute. But when you get to 10-ish people, just Danielle, Jeff, Angel, great. Betty, I know you're kind of playing along, so thank you very much. Jeff, did you want to say something? You're just unmuting for funds. Okay, great. So now that you have your list of people, number one, as we go through this process, you very easily may think of more people, and that is fine. Just add them to the list. But for now, I really would invite you to just pay attention to the people that you just came up with. There are 6 billion people on the planet. Of everyone on the planet, this list has now shown up in your universe, and I want it to be a tool that you can use. I call this process kind of going to the chiropractor. And I want you to be able to use this process to align with who you want to be, who you don't want to be, give gratitude, think about contribution or collaboration so that you can kind of be more focused about how you are doing you, so that as you do you, you can do you the way you want to do you, right? Like ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. Inside of the National Speakers Association, I feel like you could spend a lot of money trying to be somebody else. But if you could just focus and be yourself, you're going to save a lot of money, because by being yourself, no one else can do that. So this is my attempt to remind myself to not pretend to be other people and just allow myself to be my weird freak show and see if I can get paid to do it. So based on the list that you came up with, what I want you to do now is I want you to look at your list, and not 100% of them, but I want you to look out of that list and qualify some people as circle people. So you're just going to draw a circle around their names. These are the best of the best. These are the people you are grateful for. They've taught you something. They've changed you. They've moved you. They have made you aspire to be a better human being. It can't be all of them. So I want you to circle at least 3 of them. I want you to circle those people, not everybody. And if you are circling everybody, don't be Southern, because you need to have people on your list that you also don't like. It's like football. You need 2 field goals posts, the good ones and the not good ones. So circle your people, at least 3 of them. I'm guessing 3. There might be more. There might be fewer than that. Danielle, you're not allowed to yawn. It's only 5:30 for me.
Sorry.
That's totally fine. I'm like a super early morning person, but my husband,
not.
Oh, I'm like a 4 or 5 a.m. or wake her up or without an alarm. But Lauren is out of town at a conference. And so that means I'm in charge of the night shift with the old dogs. So they have to go to the bathroom at 11 and they go to the bathroom at 2. And then I pick up morning shift at 4. Sleeping situation is not going good. Okay. Do we have circle people? Angel, how are we doing? Thumbs up. Okay, great. So now what I want you to do is I want you to look at your circle people, and I want you to leave notes for yourself. Out of all the people on the planet, how the hell these people end up circle people? And I want you to leave notes for yourself. What did you learn from them? What are you grateful for them? What are you thanking them for? And be as specific as you need to be, but I want you to write notes to yourself out of everybody on the entire planet. How did this person become a circle person? And write it out next to their name on your sheet of paper. Okay, Jeff, you seem to be done with circles. Danielle, how are you doing with circles? Done. Angel, how are you doing with circles? Fantastic. Okay, so this is the first round of homework. Angel, brace yourself because you're not going to do it either. So what I'm going to ask you to do is in the next week, I want you to actually contact these human beings and tell them what you're grateful for. So typically what happens is round one of like, no fucking way, Jessica, I'm not doing that. Round one is, what am I supposed to do? Like call them? What am I supposed to say? Well, conveniently, you have left yourself notes. So you're supposed to say what those notes say. I am a firm believer that there is always time to accept a compliment. So if you don't want to call them, you can handwrite a note, but you are not allowed to text or email. You can cheat, probably you will, and you'll maybe send an email, but most of you just won't do it at all. But the reason why is that if we can actually introduce gratitude back, one, it makes us feel a lot better. And two, it opens up doors for future conversations. And this is your authenticity chiropractor, right? So whoever became circles out of all the people in the world, don't you think they want to know about it? Those of you that have already done this, if you're like, well, I have the same circle people as last time. Number one, did you do it last time? And if you did do it last time and there's still a circle person, did you write them down because you knew what was coming? Or is there something new and then you need to give them new gratitude? Make sense? So that's your first homework assignment. You have a week to figure that out. Okay. Next, I want you to look at well, first, are there any thoughts or comments or questions about gratitude? Do y'all want to get and tell me why you can't give gratitude to people? Let me make sure you get a chance to do that. Go ahead. Any thoughts, comments, or questions why you can't do this? Danielle, kick us off.
My immediate was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to bother them because they're so busy, the people that I circled, but it is worthwhile in reaching out to them and showing gratitude, but also writing a testimonial on their LinkedIn page.
Oh, that's a great thing. Writing testimonials, that could be a really great one too. And you've done this before and you knew this was coming. Did you do your homework last time?
No.
Good job. Way to be. So now if you do one of them, you will have done better than you did last time.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I did. I'll have to find it. Okay.
All right. Jeff, do you want to make any excuses?
I did some of them last time, but I didn't
Excellent.
do, yeah, but yeah, I did some, but I didn't do all.
Okay, great. Angel, you're new to this. Do you have any reasons why you think you might not call your circle people?
Well, I think one of them is completely out of reach. It just seems like he's like way out there, but I'll still do my best to reach out to him. And then the other two, one of them's like about an hour away, so I could physically drive to an event that he's doing and I could express gratitude there. And then the other one, I could make a phone call.
Fantastic. Can I ask a question about the one that's like too elevated for you to reach out to?
Yes.
Can I ask who it is? Do I know them?
You probably know him or know of him.
Great.
John Maxwell.
Excellent. Do you think John Maxwell ever gets notes in the mail?
Yeah, I'm just talking about having a conversation with him. I'm sure I could write him a letter, but to actually get him on the phone, I know it's possible. I'm up for the challenge.
It's possible. And feel free to write a note. And then in the note, ask if he would be open for a phone call. There is always time and room to receive a compliment. You know, and I just want to reiterate, and Betty, I'm going to come for you next and see how you are with your circle people. But I want to think about your jobs, your lives. Has someone ever come up to you like this? So it just happened to me again, where I do not remember this person from a hole in the wall. No idea who they are. Zero idea. Are they a client? Did I sleep with them in college? No idea. You can't know. they came up to me and started complimenting me about I have given them the power to have their own voice and they are doing their own thing now. I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. But did I stop in my tracks and like allow some of that goodness to get to me before I deflected it off? At least 20% of it got in before I cracked a joke or like, I have to go now, because it made me uncomfortable because I'm not used to people complimenting me and I'm very good at deflecting it. I'm getting better at accepting compliments. So I throw it out to you. It is very unlikely that John Maxwell and you are going to have dinner because of this activity, but you can at least have a note card, right? Okay, Betty, who are your circle people? Or let me rephrase. I don't need to know who they are. Are you going to be able to reach out to them?
I am, and I didn't last time, and I got a little bit, I don't know, nervous, self-conscious. Like I went to reach out to one, but I didn't. And so this time I'm absolutely going to do it.
Okay, sounds great. Perfecto. Okay, so those are your circle people. So you have a week. Now I want you to look at the rest of your list. Of the rest of your list, we're going to go to the other field post. And not the rest of them, but some of the rest of them, I think, are line people. And I want you to draw a simple line through their name. You still need to be able to read their name. And if you rip the paper, you might need a therapy appointment. But I want you to draw a line through the people that you are not proud of. You are not going to share gratitude in their direction because you are not excited about them. They are more on the bad side of how you are judging this list. Okay, and I want you to draw a line through them. Could be let's say 2 to 3 of them.
I don't have any.
Well, add more names to your list because you only added good people.
I did.
Okay, so then you have to add some of the other side, right? Like, who are the people you don't want to be like? Who are the people that you think are unethical? You don't like how they do their job? Something like that. Jeff, you were pointing your pen. Did you want to say something?
I was scolding Betty for not following the instructions.
I was driving. I caught what I could.
Yeah. She was driving. Also, if you've met Betty, is anyone surprised she didn't follow the
Umbrellas and raincoats, all I can say.
Yes,
I'm
we're
not
getting a
surprised.
line right now. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So do you all have like 1 or 2 line people? Angel, how are you doing? Good? Danielle? Okay. So first off, just to do a little therapy, you're not a horrible person for having line people. You're also not a horrible person if you didn't come up with line people, but I want you to. And the reason why I want you to is that 1, you need it for the rest of the activity. And 2 is that if you don't know who you don't want to be, then how are you ever going to know if you get to be who you do want to be? Right? So I usually tell a story between my father and his brother is how I figure out how I want to run a business. So my uncle, AKA Skeezy Uncle, he's dead now. But when he, in the summers, I would do his paperwork or like invoicing for a siding business that he had. So he sold siding, staying true to stereotype. So this is like door-to-door salesman work kind of stuff. And he'd hit a neighborhood and he'd hit everybody he possibly could. And inevitably, he would underbid how much it would actually cost to do siding on a house, and then get really, really close to finish, and then tell the people that they found termites or something, so it cost more money. That people don't ever have any more money, so then he would con them out of the car or the boat or something that was for sale in the yard, and it was my job to figure out how to invoice for this correctly. Terribly unethical. I saw him, if he did it once, then maybe it would have been a nice gesture, but he did this over and over and over again, and then sold the boats and the cars for his own profit. So that is not somebody I want to be. I do not want to be a skeezy sighting salesman who's making a profit out of the loss of people that he's working with. So the flip side is my dad. So my dad was the exact opposite. So he would lose the shirt on his back for like these long-term relationships that he would hope that this would turn into, and often got screwed over by the clients because the customers would take advantage of his good nature, and he was rarely turning profits in a lot of his jobs. I did his invoicing too. So I have both of them on my shoulders. Somebody that I really aspire to have that kind of ethics and integrity, but I'd like to have better business sense. And someone who had a fantastic business sense, if you're looking at just profits, was basically a despicable human being. I don't want to be a despicable human being, but I want the good business sense. You need both to be present. So now that you have your line people, what I want you to do, and we're going to suspend grammar a little bit, but I want you to look at your line people and I want you to determine, is there something that you do that they don't do? And is there something you don't do that they do? So for example, my nemesis, as I was starting doing diversity work, now I feel like we do entirely different work with entirely different clients. But when I was first starting as a diversity speaker, I am not above like unstacking chairs. So if I go into a room and the room's not set up right, I have no problem moving the furniture, unless it's like a union room and you're not allowed to do anything. But like, I'm not going to complain to someone and then watch someone do the work. That's just not something I'm capable of doing. My nemesis is way too good. She's way too fancy to like be moving tables and bosses people around, and it embarrasses me on her behalf. Okay. So that's something I do that she doesn't do, but she does have a PhD. I don't. So that's another distinction, but goes the other way around. Make sense? So I want you to look at only your line people. Don't look at anybody else. Just look at your line people. And I want you to write down something you do that they don't do, and that you don't do that they do.
Okay, repeat that. Do. I just got do.
Yeah, I know that's what happens. So something that you do that they don't do. So like I move tables, I'm not too good, and they are definitely too good. She has a PhD, I don't have a PhD. So you're writing down your distinctions of either what you do or what you don't do based on them doing the opposite. How are we doing with the do's and the don'ts? Danielle's a thumbs up, Betty's a nod, Angel's a thumbs up, Jeff's a thumbs up. Okay, great. So before we move on, now I want you to look at the people on your list that are not circles, nor are they lines. I like to give these people at least like a moment, because out of the billions of people who are on the planet, they still made your list. So these might be people you feel responsible for. Maybe you're burdened by them, and maybe you're not allowed to say that you're burdened by them because maybe you're married to them or you birthed them or something. But the people who are on your list who are not circles and not lines are still people who are occupying your energy and your attention. That's a value neutral statement. They are occupying your time and your attention. So I just want you to acknowledge that there are people who are occupying your time and attention who are not circles and are not lines, but they're there. They made the list. Later work, or like Jeff, if you're doing the honor student possibility, if you're going to compare this list to your last list, it could be interesting to find out the commonalities of the people who are taking up brain space, and do they need to be there? And if they don't need to be there, how are you going to get rid of them? Because they're not really a line person. And if you can't get rid of them, then you can't get rid of them. Or is there a reason that you don't want to get rid of them because they're actually a circle person? Right? But that's a conversation for you to have about the people who are on your list that did not become circles and did not become lines. But they are occupying space, time, and focus. So I just want to acknowledge that. Otherwise, they'll start screaming like, no, no. And some of that we really like, and some of it we don't. When we were talking about the mastermind group, Liz is a great example of this, and that she volunteers for her NSA chapter, in my opinion, way too much. Like way too much. So she runs the academy. She's the current president. She's about to be the president again because the incoming president is moving. Like, Liz, someone else can do this. But the chapter and all the people related to the chapter would probably be on her list, and probably wouldn't make circles or lines because they're not harmful, but they're not inspiring her to grow her speaking business. So they're occupying that time and space, which means that time and space can't go towards something else. So then she can do it, but she needs to consciously realize that if she does that, she can't do something else. So I invite you to look at your lists and see if there's anything noticing about the people who are not circles or not lines. And if there is there anything you'd like to share with the group?
Not really. I like how you are reiterating that these folks are taking up time and energy, and if they're not, somebody else could. So is that the best use of our time and energy? So, I know you went through this before, but I didn't pick up on that lesson before. So thank you.
Sure. And there are people in my life that are not helping me, but they're not hurting me, but I'm not letting them go.
Right.
Okay. Well, know about that. You're just reminding yourself of this responsibility that you're choosing to take. There's nothing wrong with that. Jeff.
So yeah, I had one that was a circle on my previous list and is now like not circled. And a couple of things I'm noticing is like they kind of fell away from the mastermind that we were in together. Some of the work we did in past years like didn't happen as fast as I wanted, but we actually are doing some work together over in a totally different organization, and that's actually, we've planned it, and it's ready to go, and it's actually going to kick off this year. It's going to work and actually happen. So it's interesting how that takes up space. And some of the space it takes up is the negative feelings from how things didn't turn out. But they're like near term positive because there's another chance in a different context. And I really want this to work. And I think they do too. So that's what a not circle or a not line looks like right now for me.
That's great. And isn't that interesting? Right? Like, again, it's value neutral, but like, what's going on in your head and your heart seems like an easy question to ask oneself, but we don't have that conversation. So you have to do this process to get to your own head and your heart to then be like, "Ah, that's happening," right? And so then, Jeff, I would challenge you with this project that's about to launch, this person could easily become an instant circle person again.
I know.
There's a possibility they won't be a circle person again. There's a
Yep.
possibility they could become a line person.
Yeah.
And I recognize that's 3 possibilities, but their 4th possibility is that they don't even make your list next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Value neutral. Just noticing, right? Any other shares about your not circles, not lines? All right, coolio. So then now I want you to go back to your line people. So I did a little side trip so that you could spend time to make sure you got all your do's and your don'ts down. I'm curious if you can succinctly, that's the key word, NSA, but succinctly tell me what you do and what you do not do, period. I don't want to know about them. I want to hear from you. I do this. I do not do this, like a declarative statement.
Say that again.
Watch the recording. Just kidding. I want what I'm soliciting out of you as participants now is, if you can, a declarative statement about what you do and a declarative statement about what it is that you don't do without invoking your line person, because we don't care about them. We care about you. So what do you do and what do you not do? So I'll give you an example. So if I think about my line people, I, Jess Pettit, bend over backwards to over deliver for my clients using a surprisingly fresh approach that involves humor and current events. I do not turn it into an academic vocabulary based diversity training because I don't believe that those are effective. See, I planted a flag.
Yeah.
Do I believe that 100% of the time? No. Do I cash all checks? Sure do. Right. But in this exercise, we're just making a declarative statement. I use humor, not vocabulary, to have an effective programming about difficult topics. There you go. There's the rest of the statement. Anybody think you can do it?
I can try.
Go for it, Betty.
I can do it. I can do it. I, Betty Norland. I'm gonna figure out where I start. I, Betty Norland, use inspiration from history, wise people that have influenced the world to teach us how to look beyond what we know into our own bodies for secrets that are subtle but present that can help us heal.
Fantastic. That sounds great. Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Thanks.
Sure. Anybody else want to try out a declarative statement? Go, Angel. Hit us.
All right. I do speak on mindset, but I do not leave out the heart in it.
Great.
So yeah, so some people are just all about, yeah, it has to be a certain way, and they totally leave out the feeling part of it and the emotions.
Okay. So now you're talking about other people. So backspace, do
Okay.
your declarative statement. I, Angel Vallejo,
Okay.
do this and do not do this. Go, try again.
Okay, so I I'm still filtering it through, so I just,
Oh, that's fine. I'm not putting it in stone. You totally
Yeah.
did it. And then you backtracked and started talking about them. So you're just going to say what you do and what you don't do. Drop mic.
all right, well, I speak on mindset and I do not just focus on that. I also focus on the heart. I don't know if that,
Great.
yeah.
Golf clap. You did it. Great job. Danielle or Jeff, do you want to try?
I'll give it a shot. So I do use practical, useful, authentic ways to improve interactions in the workplace. I do not follow a canned method endorsed by the establishment.
Mhm.
Excellent.
I like that.
Good
I like
job. Okay, Danielle, bring us home.
Okay. I do talk about success and business. I don't leave out purpose.
So Jess, should we have a do and a don't, or should we just have a do?
Don't care
Okay.
at all. But what I want you to do is that when you are saying these declarative statements, I want you to notice what we all did. Right? So then Betty, you just doubted whether or not you did it right. Okay.
No, I was really asking because I've studied a lot on positive psychology, like a lot. I've gotten a certification in neuroscience from a company that I've worked with. And I worked at a school for 6 years that I'm the most positive person around, and I kept being told I was saying things wrong. And so I've learned to get rid of the word not and to make it a more positively phrased. So it wasn't that I was questioning whether I was doing it right. Maybe I was, but I was thinking that's not how I understood the direction. So should I be rethinking what I'm doing? So I guess I was questioning myself.
So no, you do whatever you need to do. I just want to show that out of the 5 of us, one person was like, oh God, did I do it wrong? Or did I do it right? Another person nailed it, Angel, and then started talking about what the other people don't do. Right? So then that's like some kind of weird deflection stuff. Jeff, when you said it, and then like put your shoulders up and started laughing about it. Right? And then Danielle, you said it, and this was my personal favorite, is you didn't do any of those things, but you went, like you leaned away from it.
Mhm.
It's a declarative statement you made up based on some purple-haired lady's activity. But notice, if we can't declare who we are or why we are doing, who else is going to do that? Right? So just notice there's all these ways to make us not, and please know, I'm not awesome at this. It's very hard to just say something, but we're self-employed. So we're going to have to do the saying of the things, right? So just notice, and you nailed it. Congratulations. Okay, last part. Now I want you to look at your circle people and your line people, and I want you to think about the things that you do or the things that you don't do, right? So the last piece is around contribution and collaboration. So how I use these words is contributing means how can I help them and how can they help me with our things that already exist. And collaboration, which interestingly, Jeff, you may have a great collaboration as an example. Collaboration is how can we collectively build something that does not exist, that ends in something brand new. Now, this is not homework, but this is like a brain activity. It might result in you doing something, but it's mostly just a thinking activity. So an example, one of my line people 100,000 years ago, I often say that 1984 needs its diversity training back. And so she had just published a new book. This is like 2019. She had just published a new book, and it literally talked about CD-ROMs and the World Wide Web in the book. So I'm like, holy crap, what the hell's wrong? But when I was trying to switch to corporate, everybody kept telling me about this person. And then I'd go and look at their stuff and I'd be like, if this is corporate, I'm not doing it. This is dumb. Okay, fast forward 5 years, what I should have been seeing is that corporate is way behind education. I did not know that because I had never done corporate work. So my little education self is judging her for being really out of date. And the book was selling. And the reason why it was selling is that education looks fast and progressive next to like a bank. But I didn't see that at the time. What I saw is, what the hell's wrong with this crap? So contribution and collaboration is, how can I support and how can I build something? So I reached out to her because she had a podcast and I like doing podcasts. I don't have my own podcast. And I asked her if she'd be interested in doing a series of interviews where we take a particular topic and she does her approach and I do my approach. Because in my opinion, I was judging her work. So the outdated way of doing it and the current way of doing it is how I really intended that invitation to go. And the reality is that it's more like a basic level and a more advanced level response to the same thing. Now I see that. I didn't see that then. But that could have been a very interesting podcast to talk 2 different approaches to the same topic. So it didn't work, but it is an interesting activity that I went through, right? Like in my own brain thinking about things.
Mhm.
Same thing, Danielle mentioned leaving LinkedIn reviews for people. You could ask if people want, right now everyone's doing all those comment golden hour things on LinkedIn. Can you support their LinkedIn posts? Can you invite them to support your LinkedIn posts? Right now, this is probably more circle people than line people, right? Can you be a guest article in their newsletter? Can they be a guest article in your newsletter? Can you contribute to each other's things? And then collaborate is there something brand new that you could create that doesn't currently exist? The homework assignment is not to make this occur. Jeff, as I told you, is an overachiever and it created a collaboration with the circle person from last time in September, probably directly related to this activity. Just kidding. But it was in the air, right? And it occurred. But if you can start thinking in a way that is rooted in gratitude, which is your homework assignment for the next 7 days, I didn't forget. But you're also giving gratitude to yourself, to everybody else you're holding in your head that aren't circle people or aligned people. And you're also focusing on your differentiation of who you are, making declarative statements about what you do or what you don't do, and knowing what that means, then that will allow you to dream up ideas of how to contribute and support other people, invite people into your world to contribute to the things that you have. Or maybe you could develop something that doesn't even exist right now as a collaboration. So those are the 4 main things to take away from going to the authentic chiropractor. So thoughts, comments on the process? Angel, since this is your first time, you get to go first. You didn't even know what you signed up for. Is this what you were expecting? What'd you get out of it? How can we help you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I enjoyed the exercises. And it's not what I expected, but it's good.
Great. I'll put that testimonial on my website. Just pet it. Not what I expected, but it's good. Great. Jeff, what about you? How are you doing over there?
Yeah, so I actually have a response to the one who was a circle last time and then is not. So so the thing that per your instructions, I did the homework like in my head just this minute. The work we did before was all design and creating things from scratch. The work we're doing in the future is what they do best and is easy and takes a little bit of time, and they'll crank it out like a machine. And I don't do that. And what I do best is I've got everybody ready to create this product that we designed last year, and I've got the company that pays for it. So what I'm thinking is I need to take like a do-over, start over approach with this person, and the work that we're going to do together. Focusing on the work that we're doing together this year. I've had the last year's mentality, and oh God, I'm going to have to go through all this again. Well, not really, because this work now is in a different stage and it's in their sweet spot. I know it. And what I bring to the table is everything that needs to get done and how it gets paid, how they make money.
Sounds like a fresh start. That's
It
gonna
is, yeah.
how differently those conversations will go now that you have had that recognition. You don't even have to say anything. You're just gonna show up different now.
Mm.
Totally cool. Danielle, what about you?
Well, one learning lesson that I took away from the last time that I have actually done was there have been some restaurants that were not the best experience. And instead of writing a review on Yelp, I emailed them directly and said specifically, I think you should be aware of this, but I didn't want to write a review on Yelp because it's an opportunity to change.
That's cool.
Not related, but I remember it from the last time.
Excellent. Super duper. Okay, Betty, bring it home. What'd you
Well,
learn this time?
What I was trying to figure out when you said there were 4 things, I'm like, okay, did I get all 4? So I wanted to recap. So rooted in gratitude, were you counting gratitude toward ourself as 1, gratitude toward our circle people as 2, and gratitude toward anyone else in our head as 3? Or was gratitude just 1 category? And then the second thing I got was the declaration of what we do and don't do, but I don't know if I'm missing some of the other points.
Yep. So gratitude, differentiation is the declaration. And then contribution and collaboration are the other 2.
Got it. Thank you.
Totally. Great. Well, that brings us to the top of the hour. Hopefully this counts as like an authentic chiropractor kind of experience. And I recommend doing this activity at least once a quarter. I usually get to it about once a year. But when I choose to do it is usually when maybe I'm not supposed to share this, but when I am debating spending a lot of money on something, I will go through this activity because it will help me find out, do I need to do this or do I think I need to do this? Because those are very different.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm particularly stressed out or feeling indecisive and I'm not sure what to do, I'll do it again. Because in my opinion, if I'm rooted in my gratitude, my differentiation, my contribution, and my collaboration, clarity will come as to what I should then do next. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Of course, more than welcome.
Yes, thanks, Jess.
Y'all bought it. Happy to help. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Stop recording.